Have you ever thought of what will happen to your name after death? Will you leave your name in the sand or will you let it be washed away? Life gives many gifts, and life itself is one of them. You only get it once. No matter what happens after death, we only get this experience once. When you die, your name becomes a whisper. Few will hear it. Death comes for those few, and then your name is spoken by even fewer. Then your name is completely washed away. The musical Hamilton explored themes of leaving a legacy. How many would tell your story after you die? Ever since I fully saw the musical, I couldn't help but think of those same questions. Have I done enough to be remembered? Will I have anyone to tell my story? Soon enough, being remembered became a goal of mine. I cared about my reputation more than ever, wanting to be in the room where it happened more than ever. I wanted to be known for what I did. My projects became more important because if a single one of them was successful, then my legacy could be secured. If this channel ever gets popular enough that hundreds would potentially acknowledge my death, then I will have achieved my goal. If Broken Hero were ever released and read by someone across the country, then I would have achieved my goal. My life became more special. I grew a desire to know more about who I was 10 years ago. I wanted to organize it so that I could tell anyone what happened in my life, so that I could tell anyone on my deathbed who I was. Days passed by, and I desired to know what happened on each day, so that I could say I lived those days wisely. Only recently have I grown a desire to outline my life. I tried to view everything from different perspectives. I thought of a way to define it all, a way for everyone to see my life in an unusual way. I found the way to tell my story. The name of that story will have to remain a secret for now. But with these creations you see now, you'll see a glimpse of the ideas that will be present in the final product. Yes, they are only in the concept phase, and things will move like always, slowly. So now we really begin. Hello, my name is Demon King, and today I wanted to discuss this new idea I've had. Coincidentally, it was 6 months ago from when I'm recording this that I made the idea official. If the title isn't clear already, I'm not exactly wanting to say anything that the idea is going to be. In fact, I'm still trying to find the spark in this new idea, as in what would make it alive. There are specific ways that I've yet to tell you of how it's going to be shown and how the characters are going to be shown. For example, have you ever thought of what a concept like hope or despair would look like as people? How much can you personify concepts or characterize events? I think it's fun thinking of events a certain way that's completely different from what they are. Thinking of school assignments or projects like an epic battle. In a way, what I'm doing here is just telling a basic story. When I'm done with it, no one will be able to look at it as an autobiography or any type of non-fiction story. As I said, I'm still not sure how most of it will even work. I'm searching for the key piece of it that will make everyone see it as something different or innovative. That's why the idea would take its time to fully develop. About the background, I spent some time making some creations for the project that show some of my early ideas I've had for this story. Not all of them are at their best quality as I want them to be yet, but that's still the process that we're going to have to go through. Also, in general, I'm not an amazing artist, so that's why some of them just aren't good in general. Some of them are decent, but only because I've had them reworked on by a third party. For the characters themselves, as shown little through here, not all of them are meant to represent any type of real person. Not all of them are meant to represent anything in general, just meant to exist there just for the sake of this to work. The character shown here is just one representation of just one character in my life. A character that wears a mask, and a character who can extend themselves, or really, I guess, grow in a way. Growing to show itself as bigger than others. There's another character here that is really just meant to represent a type of concept, an idea that I believe all of us know. And it's one of the more interesting things about this idea, about this story, about what could possibly else could be shown in there, depending on just what I would face in my normal life and how I view them, and how they will then be represented and turned into something completely different. There's other characters in there too that are more represented as these grander mentor figures um, only there in this story at least to serve their role as a mentor and serve this role as something for the main character to grow into and to grow into being, to be something different and more than what they may start out with. There's other ideas for this story that just haven't reached them completely yet. It's a long story based on what I've already had, and there's many ideas for how it will even be done. And just as soon as I really figure out what it is I want to do, then I'll find the right way to do it, and then from there I'll start doing it. But as of right now, it can't be fully completed at least for another few years. As in, I can't even get started on it for another few years, even if I have all of the resources I need. Some of the art here may not make the most sense to you, and to be clear, it's not really supposed to yet. Not all of their designs and all the representation here is meant to make any sense yet. As it has always been said, there's not too much for me to discuss about what's going to come of this idea in the far future. There's not much more that I really even want to discuss about what's going to be going on in this story, because it's just how much I think how personal it is to me, and how much I want to keep it to myself, and how much it's just everything that it's supposed to be relies on just me continuing my own work of it and my own representation of everything here. It's all still coming from one perspective. Anyone else could look at the same events and same characters, and they could create them in a completely different way. And I think that's always the beauty of it. And I think I would only want to partially show this in the full product, about what others may see of it, something that I see differently. How events can be distorted in a way, or how some things, but still creating everything that's real to both parties. Something that's real, but it only affects certain people in one way. And for some people, it doesn't affect them at all, and so they have a completely different view of that idea than what others may have because of the way that they are affected. But there's many ideas there's many events that I'm not even sure how to show off yet, because they may matter to me, and they may not matter to others. And creating that in this new story is interesting. It's another thing that I'll have to tackle. It's another thing that will challenge me. And I'm always looking for new things that interest me and new things that really challenge me in a different way. All my stories are meant to be different in one way or another, and they need time into all of them. I don't want to ever just make a story easily or make a simple idea, because no matter what, there's always something in each idea that really gives them that spark, as I stated. And with this idea, I have yet to truly find it and what could make it interesting in the way that I'm showing it. What will really make it different from other ideas? How will people see this, and will they see this as something innovative? Will it even be popular enough for me to really get my name around about and see this whole journey I've had making it? And for many big progress updates, I'll probably make more videos just talking about what it is I'm making and how much I've done to work towards that. The whole channel here is another way of just simply promoting myself and what it is I am doing here. It's here to support Broken Hero, it's here to support Psycho of Acne, it's here to support many other ideas, and this idea included. There's a lot of obstacles that I will have to face in making it, but there's many parts of making it that are simply just going to be entertaining. And that's the best thing to have when you enjoy doing your work. I'm going to enjoy collecting all the information I need for this, and I'm going to enjoy mapping it all out. I've always had a thing for that, about connecting all these narratives, and I think it's always interesting of these different stories all taking place around the same time. And I just wish that I could show that here one way or another in this new story. And I think that if I ever could figure out how to show multiple stories taking place at the same time, while still showing all the different effects that every event is taking place on for each character, then I think maybe that would be the spark, and maybe that would be the thing that keeps this story and idea alive. I won't be explaining every single art piece or idea that I have with the story because, I still want to keep some secrecy to it in the end. Everything that you see here is, it's kind of weak or sad, and I think when comparing it to any other Pixar, I gave myself 20 minutes on each to do the most that I could, and a lot of the time I was just winging it and doing literally anything to resemble what it was I was making. Not everything you see is planned out. In fact, most of it isn't, and most of it doesn't have any other unique qualities, unlike what I would assume that other art directions have for, I guess, movies or games or like an art cover for a book. I didn't have any of that while starting with this. I simply had the idea and the character and the main primary characteristics that I want to show off, and that's what I led with for each of these art pieces. I had that idea on its own, and I've always enjoyed seeing what those ideas transform into as time progresses. How much will this idea be changed when I'm making it? It's interesting, and I've seen it a lot with Broken Hero, as that's always been a consistent thing of my writing, and seeing how this thing shifts as I move along with it. I start to see, okay, these ideas that I've had, they're changing, and they're changing for the better, always for the better, because everything's more connected now when I'm seeing it. The details are there, and then that makes the whole product even grander. It's just by connecting all these little pieces together, forming this consistency, and it becomes really lovely looking at all of it. I hope to see new changes with this art style I have for it, and with these ideas for how everything will be written and how everything will be created. I hope to see new changes come. I hope for all of these designs to be refined and to be given detail and to be made completely, and I think that's what will truly transform all of these drawings into something more. And that once I find that spark for each one about what exactly each drawing is really supposed to be, I think that only then will I actually be able to make it in its entirety and it can actually be something great. Now, also, to be clear, I never usually draw. I don't draw ever normally, and it's a consistency I see that with most people I see as good artists, or people who make good art, they do their art consistently, and I don't. It's not anything I guess I was passionate about. I mean, making a good drawing was always nice, but I hope that with this idea, maybe I can even get better at creating those ideas myself and really showing them off instead of having to have someone else tell that idea for me. There's many things that I've thought of about what the beginning and the end would look like. There's many parts and very specific scenes that I would like to get to, and all of it can be so lovely and entertaining, I think, for all of you to see one day. You'll only know that it's about my life because I told you so. Otherwise, I don't think you'd be able to tell, at least in the way that I want to tell this story, that it's meant to mean anything at all. And I think that's something that I like about it. I think that's something that may not be viewed as a good thing by everyone, but I at least know that in the way that I want to tell it, I'd be satisfied with it being taken that way, and no one seeing it as a representation of myself, because I think at heart, I never want to tell anyone my, I guess what really is happening and really how I see everything. I think there could become a lot of controversy, a lot of conflict if I openly said everything that I really felt about everything. So I think personifying those things and transforming them into something different that I can safely show through this story, and I can safely show nearly everything about how I feel about all of these things and about how what everything that happened. Because there's some things that I can't say at all. I can't tell anyone about that they happened this way. There's some things I can't really say out loud. But transforming those events and transforming my feelings into something else and then showing it through this new idea, I think that would be something interesting. I think it will leave a lot of people wondering just about what each detail really means, about what's the deeper meaning behind all of it. And it's really would be only for entertainment purposes then, because truly I don't want anyone looking into my life and really seeing, finding my name, my face, my whole family. I don't want any of that to be shown. I don't want any of that to really be said. So this kind of separation from reality, I think, is really making this story something different and can make it something unique. Be able to toy around with every single detail and every single piece of the narrative, to have it transform to something not only satisfying for the viewer, but something that's meaningful to me. And I hope that everything goes the way as I'm detailing it. I understand that there's a lot of complications in general with what it is I want to do, and just collecting everything that I need to make it the way that I need it to be. I know them already every single time before starting any project, that I know what it is I'm going to face. And I know what it is I'm going to face with this project before jumping into it. So I promise not only that I'll never forget about this project, that it won't just be something that I abandon by the next week. It's something that's going to be consistent, even though you won't be able to see it in its entirety for years. Probably even maybe a whole decade from now, it still won't even be out there. I mean, that'd be surprising for me, but at least maybe then you'd see more what it is I want to tell, more what I want to show, and more of everything about the idea that you can't see now. I don't know exactly even when I'm going to start writing the whole narrative, and by that I really just mean when I'm actually creating it in the way that I want to show it in. There's a lot more to be said about it. This is nothing more than just an announcement for it, and we're showing the concepts that I want to talk about in this whole story, about what's really building it up and what's really going to be shown through all of these characters and all of these issues that are being faced by the characters. And there's going to be more than one main character. There's going to be more than any antagonist and any, because truly I think that maybe in this story specifically, maybe the protagonist isn't really the hero, maybe the antagonist isn't really the villain, but they're still going to be represented in that way, because that's just how maybe I view it, and that's just going to, I think, be just how a lot of these ideas are going to be said. Nothing is exactly as it seems. It's just an altered version of what is there. It's like looking at something without your contacts on, that there's very different forms of that these things can take on, like when it's all left to just the imagination to figure out what these things are based on solely their actions, about what they really mean and what they really think. And there's so much more that can be showed off in this idea, and really I think it's exciting in a way. I've already collected a whole lot of information right now to get started on, and I'm collecting way more as I go along. I have never forgotten about this project in any way. I haven't forgotten to do anything for this project, this video in its entirety. As secretive as I'm being about it, I want everyone here to know that there's something big coming, even though that something might not ever see the light of day for, possibly a whole decade. With this channel, I'm going to be consistently showing off new ideas and new things that I want to do. I'm going to be consistently talking about these things. Every single video that I make, there's going to be something somewhere in there about something that I want to keep doing in the future. My last two videos, even though they were really more of me showing off my skill in what I've done, about my passion in these things, even if they aren't the absolute best thing in the world, or even if they are, showing copyrighted material. these are all still things that I really want people to see. There's still projects of mine that I want to show off, and there's more coming in the future. There's more that I can't wait for you to see. And I'm excited to show you all of it, the good and the bad and the ugly. I can't wait for you to see what this ends up truly becoming. So I'm sure I've already taken up enough of your time with you watching this video, and I hope I've at least shown you enough for you to be satisfied by acquiring this information in the video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and goodbye.